And I'm wearing my bright yellow today, hoping for some spring weather soon.
I know, right? Well, the groundhog said we're not getting any, so.
Groundhog.
All right, so are you seeing the presentation, Debbie?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. Well, let's get started. Your camera, the webcam is hidden for me for some reason. All right, well, good morning, everyone. Sorry, we're starting about 10 minutes late. We just kind of got to roll with it. We had a little hiccup this morning with the link being not necessarily a bad link, but we had something going on at the same time, not realizing that we were kicking each other off. So we'll tell you what the exciting news is as to what's going on at the same time. But given the fact that everything is virtual nowadays, we have so many webinar accounts that we're doing that something got double booked. But I just wanted to say good morning. I'm back. I've been out for almost like 3.5 months. This is the first Mixing It Up I've done since September. Colleen was kind of running with them for the few months that I was out on maternity leave. And my co-host this week or this month is Debbie Fajardo, our Director of Education. Colleen is actually the one running the other webinar event that's going on right now that I'm going to talk to you guys about in a minute here. But so Debbie's just going to kind of be chiming in, answering any questions, monitoring, and participating in like the prizes and stuff like that. So if you want to say good morning, Debbie.
Good morning, everybody. And that's why you'll see me, a lot of times my attention will be over here. That's my second screen. I'm not ignoring you guys. I am just working my multiple screens because that's where my chats and questions are over on the other side. So when you ask a question in your chats, and I'm sure Taylor will get to the housekeeping in a second, but when you get to the chats, I will be hopefully Johnny on the spot. That's the idea.
Yeah, and I'm going to have a presentation open, Debbie. So as questions come in, just interrupt me and let me know because it's closed out with the whole presentation opened right now. Yeah. And so what you'll see on the GoToWebinar panel, if you've never done one with us before, is there's a questions panel, and you can go in and you can actually ask those questions right there. And Debbie's going to be monitoring them. And I am totally okay with you guys asking questions about all the stuff that I'm talking about. I'm just giving some tips today, and I want to be able to make sure that you guys get the most out of what we're going to be talking about. And so feel free to ask a bunch of questions and go from there. So like I mentioned, I was out for almost 4 months. I just had a baby back in September, so that's him. So I just wanted to let everybody know where I've been if you guys have been on the Mixing It Ups. His name's Dean. So I figured I'd share that. That's him about now. So that was him when he was first.
Who was everybody else in there?
Oh yeah, that's my husband, Steve, and my daughter, Scarlett, the one I had to lie to today and tell her I was actually going to an office. And then baby Dean, and that's him about now. So he's gotten a little bit bigger.
It's adorable.
Got a lot of personality already. So my daughter, it's funny, my daughter was very serious as a baby, but she's very like goofy and outgoing now. And he's just like constantly smiling and just like the happiest little guy. So it'll be funny to see if he kind of changes to be a little more serious or introverted, or if he's going to kind of run with that really goofy, outgoing personality like her. So we'll see. But she was very serious as a baby. All right, so got some few exciting announcements to talk about. We have a new exclusive data share that just went live. We haven't really put much out about it yet, so some more details are going to be going out today about it. But we just brought on Claire Gladwin, Board of Realtors, and all their data into the MLS for exclusively our members. So this is really exciting. It's just more data for our members. We have been for years bringing on more MLSs around the state. Our goal as a company is to have all the data in the state. Right now we have I mean, we did have 92%, so I'm assuming we're pushing 100% here. There's just a couple more that we hope to be able to data share with and bring to our members. So as you can see, we also have the Upper Peninsula, and this is just the ones that we have right now that are exclusive, and this is the total MLS coverage that you are getting as a MiRealSource member. So you can see kind of some gaps there that we hope to fill in for everybody, but we're doing really good. Speaking of the data sharing and these partnerships that we're working out, that's what Colleen is actually doing right now, is she is having a meeting with Claire Gladwin and their members and kind of training them on our platform and how to data share, how to access the data, and we're actually vendoring them, which is something that we're going to talk about in next month's Mixing It Up with MiRealSource when Colleen is on, because that's been her baby for a couple years now, is building those relationships with other MLSs and data sharing with them, vendoring them, and explaining all of that. But she's really good at breaking that down and all the different data shares that we offer. As you can see, there's the exclusive ones, there's the ones that we have been in for a few years now. And what that means to you guys, what that means to our company, and from there. So this is really, really exciting news. You can go in right to Paragon and see Claire Gladwin's data.
Well, you know, Taylor, I remember years ago when I worked for the Realtors Association that MiRealSource came in and did a presentation about data sharing. So I've been with MiRealSource, I think I just hit my 9th anniversary, and that was a few years prior to that. So like you said, MiRealSource has been working on this for a long time, and look how much it's grown.
Yeah, I mean, it was just us for a while, and then it was, you know, little MLSs around us that were joining, and we were vendoring and just kind of growing, and then joined the GLR, and then we have just been vendoring and bringing more data sharing partnerships over the years. And Colleen and Brian and Dave have just been really, really rolling these out, and it's just super exciting for our members. So these are some of the data shares that you're seeing right now in the coverage. Another thing that I want to talk about is MiRealSource is 100 this year. So every month we're going to be doing a different event. Last month in January, we did a bingo event for the members that hopped on, and we provided bingo cards that were MiRealSource focused, real estate focused, and anybody that got a bingo won some prizes. And then we had some you know, special bingo spots that you got some MiRealSource swag that we have. We got a lot of marketing materials that we want to give away. So this month we're going to be doing a 2 truths and a lie event. So what that means is, if you haven't played that game, which is a really funny game, I listen to it. It's on podcasts a lot. That's kind of where I got the idea, Debbie. Is this one girl I listen to on a podcast, she always brings people on, has a little segment with 2 truths and a lie, and people come on and they just, you know, think of something really random about themselves or cool, and then they try to come up with 2 others that are also really random and cool but not true. So then she has to actually guess. So we're going to be doing that with you guys. You submit those 2 truths and a lie. We're going to be doing it live. If you stump us, then you get a prize. And then we're going to be doing some with you guys too. So some 2 truths and a lie about us and the MLS. So be sure to register for that. That's actually available now to register for. And I would also like to ask everybody to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Really easy. It's MiRealSource Media under YouTube. There's a subscribe button. As you can see, I'm already subscribed to it, but we're going to be watching that live today. Debbie has that pulled up right now. So if you go and subscribe to MiRealSource right now, you will be in a drawing every month for prizes and giveaways. So every month that we will be tracking that, and we'll announce our YouTube subscribed winner. Another thing that I want to encourage, just so that we can get a prize going right off the bat, is the first person that Debbie sees subscribe to our YouTube channel starting now, or if you've already done it, first person that comes through in our notifications will win a prize. So today's YouTube prize is, let me pull it up, is the movie night popcorn, specialty popcorn basket giveaway item. So it has different types of popcorn, different seasonings and flavorings for your movie nights, because I mean that's kind of what we're doing right now since the movie theaters are closed. Or you're comfortable going. Are they still closed?
Oh, I don't know.
Along with the restaurants.
There's not a lot of movie theaters close to me, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, and you know, another alternative, if they wanted to screenshot their subscription and send it in the question, you can certainly do that.
Yeah, but the person that gets it is the first person to do it. But to be in the drawing, as long as you subscribe today, you will be in the drawing for February's giveaway for our YouTube subscriptions. So Debbie, let me know when the first person comes through and we will give that away.
Trying to refresh.
All right. And another thing that I want to talk about, just some housekeeping, like Debbie mentioned, is my photography program, which you've maybe taken over the years that I've been with MiRealSource. I actually completely revamped it, changed it. We've just been offering the intro for a while now, at least this year. And with that, the advanced class and the field trip haven't been able to been going on. So what I decided to do when I got back was to revamp this more pandemic friendly. It's going to be a 2-part program now instead of 3-part. And we're going to combine a little bit of advanced and field trip in part 1 and part 2 with homework and tasks, as well as adding some new tips, different photo editing, and we're going to be covering the new Pro features in the iPhone Pro Max, which I love mine. I love all the features that it has for photography. And I wanted to incorporate that the smartphones now have really been stepping up their game in terms of the quality and the features that they offer, as well as control. So we're going to be releasing that first class is going to be February 25th at 11 a.m. And then you can also register at the same time if you want for part 2, which is going to be March 11th at 11 a.m. as well. So be on the lookout. Something's going to be going out about this really soon that you can register for. And you do not have to have a DSLR camera for part 2. Similar to the original program, you didn't have to have a DSLR to attend the advanced class, but you did for the field trip. So it's still not required, but definitely it's helpful to have it for part 2. If you do have one, bring it. It's going to be interactive. We're going to be actually sharing webcams. So if you want to take this class part 2, we're going to be sharing our webcams, and you know, you can hold up your camera, you can share pictures, things like that. So it's going to definitely be really interactive, like the first program with part 2 and 3. So,
we have our first subscriber. Well, not first. We are obviously way beyond that. Our first new subscriber.
Okay.
And I believe Ed is one of our newer members, and it is Brittenham. So,
Ed Brittenham?
Yep. And Karina said that she has already subscribed. And thank you for that, because Karina, you've been getting my quick tips every Monday. And last night I got to talk to one of our, she's actually an office manager. So she's doing a lot of staff meetings. So she thanked me again last night. She's like, you know, really happy to see those quick tips out there because it really fills the content for her office meetings. So I was very flattered for that.
Yeah, that's good. I'm glad to see those are being put to use. I've heard that a few times from like team leaders and office managers that that the quick tip playlist series is, you know, definitely used pretty often. And you put a lot of time and energy into those. So
Yeah, I think I've got 27.
that's awesome.
So.
Yeah. And if you aren't familiar with our YouTube channel, which is why we're pushing it to get those subscriptions, with everything going on, everything's pretty much shifted online. So with that, we took advantage of YouTube providing, you know, all of the types of classes that we offered. They're recorded on there for you to watch at any time. All these Mixing It Ups are going to be on there. So any of the guests that we have, any of the topics that we talk about, if you have missed them in the past, which I'm sure many of you have, because everybody's, you know, has lives and stuff going on, you can watch any of them on our YouTube channel. And that has its own playlist. So from episode 1 all the way until this episode. So if you have to pop off for some reason and you missed a section, you can actually watch this, rewatch this if you would like. So is there anything that you want to add, Debbie, before I go into some of the tips today?
Nope, that was it. You know me, I chime in.
Okay, all right. So just let me know if there's any questions that you guys have specifically on some of these tips. I pulled some things from the photo program just to kind of give you a teaser of what we're going to be talking about in the part 1 and part 2 of the photo program, as well as some suggestions that we just have as staff at the MLS of things that you can do to really prepare for the spring market. I know that inventory is extremely low right now. It's been extremely low. And with that, we just need more people listing and strategically listing and really showing the property in the best light is more important now than ever, because everybody wants to kind of get an idea before they take that leap and go to the property. So if you can sell that home, get those listed as quickly as possible, that's great. So one of the best ways to do that is your marketing. And marketing your listings, number one thing that you can do is photography. The best tips that I'm going to give you to really get started before you go in and actually take pictures. What do you need to know? What do you need to plan for? The first thing that I think a lot of people struggle with is lighting. Getting that wow factor, making sure that your images just pop off the screen, they feel like they're there, all that kind of stuff that we really want to achieve with our photography. And here we are in Michigan with these gloomy, blah days. It's actually kind of sunny today, but still, we got the snow-covered ground. We have lots of clouds in the sky, the lake effect here in Michigan, and it's just gray and hazy. So how do you take pictures in this type of lighting? March, I mean, to me, I don't know if everybody agrees, if they think January, February, but to me, March, I'm usually done with winter. I am over the dreariness and the gray skies, and that's when a lot of people are ready to list their homes, is in March. So what do you do to get that extra contrast in your pictures? So this one is not too flat, but I do like to use this one as an example because there's a very gray, muted sky going on right here. And that none of these pictures I'm showing you have been retouched. So you can always retouch your photos to give them that extra contrast, that extra warmth. But if you don't have information to pull from to edit those in the pixels, then there's nothing you can do. So necessarily what you can do, there's third parties that can work with you, which we'll talk about in the photo program. But what I recommend doing from the very beginning is thinking about the time of day that you're going to take the picture. That is everything for that primary shot, as well as your interior shots. So the primary picture we'll start with, and that has to do with the direction of the home. So if you have an east-facing home, the front of the home is facing east, then you're going to want to take that picture in the morning. And that is because the angle of light is actually coming in just like a portrait. So imagine that the front of your home is the portrait. If you were going to go get your headshot done for your business card and marketing materials, would you want the photographer to put the light right on top of your head? Absolutely not. What that's going to do is it's going to give you a big hot spot on your head. It's also going to cause cast shadows under your eyes, under your nose, cheekbones. It's just not, it's really unflattering. Your eye color, all that kind of stuff is going to go flat. So with that, the home is the exact same thing. Think of the windows as your eyes. You want light in the eyes. You want to be able to see the color vividly. And with that, having the sun shine on the front of the home, you're going to get that reflection in the windows. You're going to get that warmth in the colors. So how do you do that in March when it's dreary and gray? Well, the thing is when that sun, even on a gray, dreary day, that sun lower in the sky is going to be diffused, but it's going to be illuminating the front of the home. And then it's not going to cast any natural gross, natural, unnatural looking shadows. And it's going to bring those reflections in the window. And it's also, even if it is a gray, nasty day out, you're not going to have a full-blown white sky. You're going to get some details in the clouds. So you'll at least have some contrast with the gray tones and clouds and some texture in the sky there, which is really important. Now, if you get lucky, this photo has never been retouched either. This is all time of day. So this was winter as well, as you can tell by the trees, the grass. And this was taken, no clouds in the sky this day, but was taken really, I think around like 8:30 in the morning, if I remember correctly. And that allowed me to capture those reflections in the glass windows, illuminate the front of the home. There's no really harsh shadows going on here. The only shadow you're going to see is, right over here with the garage. But what's nice is even though I have this shadow back here, it's kind of a contrast because the tree is still illuminated. So this was an east-facing home. So I took this at 8:30 in the morning, and therefore the sun was low in the sky shining on the front of the home. So east-facing homes, you're going to want to do about an hour, 1 to 3 hours after sunrise. I personally think the hour and a half is the great range, but sometimes right after sunrise, or even when sunrise is is happening, you can get really, really pretty skies, and you're still getting that detail and reflections in the windows. So for east, morning. West facing home is going to be evening, so that's going to be 1 to 3 hours before sunset. And all of this obviously varies depending on the season. And then for a north or a south facing home, you're going to want to do those morning or evening. And that really just is because when the sun is high in the sky, what's happening is just like what I described with you getting a headshot. It's shining directly on the front of the home, the top of the head of the house, and it's casting these nasty shadows. It's not doing the house any it's not flattering the front of the house. It's not giving it any kind of texture, detail. It's just blah. With that, you're not getting a blue sky, because if the sun is high in the sky on a sunny day, if the sun is high in the sky on a cloudy day, you are still going to have a blown out sky. You're not going to get those details in the clouds on those gray March days. You are going to just have a full-blown white sky that's really not going to look any different than a sunny sky. It just might be a little bit warmer in the color on a sunny day. So that's where the retouching comes in, and you can actually warm your pictures. We will go into all of that in part 2, where we go in and we retouch and edit photos right from software on our computer, as well as one of my favorite photo editing apps on the phone too, just super easy. Do we have any questions, Deb?
Not yet. I've also been putting in the chats your notes on the east facing home equals morning photos, just to, yeah, I'm a huge note taker, so I try to give that to everybody else.
Yeah, yep. No, thank you for doing that. And this is usually the first thing from planning your photos, okay, is the time of day, as well as providing a checklist, which we'll go over in the photo program as well. But some tips there that I recommend are, you know, just having them do some basic staging. This isn't professional staging where you're coming in and adding decorations or doing anything like that. It is just having the house photo ready, from removing clutter to making sure all the lights are turned on, the fireplace is turned on, TV's turned off, cords and cables all put away, pillows fluffed, mirrors clean so you don't have toothpaste spots all over your mirrors like mine always do every other day. I swear it's you got a 3-year-old brushing their teeth and there's just toothpaste all over the mirror. So with that, you want to make sure that those don't show up in the pictures. You know, that is one thing that you can do to start with to make sure that you get the most bang for your buck in your photography, to get those homes listed this spring, as well as the time of day. Now, the time of day for your interior photos is going to be actually different than your primary photos. And that is because if you go in right at 8:30 a.m. and start taking the interior pictures with these big, beautiful windows, what's going to happen? Debbie, do you know what's going to happen?
I think the rooms are going to be flooded with light, aren't they? And that,
yep.
Is that too much light then?
Too much light, which is very difficult to accommodate for, especially with just a basic camera, if you do not know how to change all of the settings to accommodate for that. But if it is so extreme, it does not matter what kind of camera you have, because you have 2 different lighting situations that you're trying to manage between the interior and the exterior. So you want to be able to obviously know those controls within your DSLR camera, which we would talk about in the photo program, what that means, as well as these new pro features in the iPhone have a lot of exposure controls and adjustments. And if you know that terminology and what they do, you can also make those changes in your phone. However, when that sun is blasting in full speed ahead, it's very, very difficult to get that depth in different colors and different lighting ranges like your eye sees in person. So therefore, that's where they fall flat and they don't have that wow factor, and they're not basically how your eye sees them. And that's what really jumps off the screen, as you feel like you're there. You want that photo to represent really represent the home and what it feels like to be there. So another thing that I want to talk about, some of the let me pull up my outline real quick. One thing that people talk about a lot is, how do I show a small space? That is my biggest struggle. So when you get your primary photo, you get that checklist, and you're actually going through and you're walking through the home, you want to look at all aspects of the home. Just don't bust out that camera and start taking pictures and wandering around. Go in, do some housekeeping that maybe your seller missed, and just kind of really browse the and look for the features of the home that you like. You want to make sure that you take pictures of or end up in your photos, and things that you want to move and remove if you need to. So small spaces, sometimes people just don't even want to attempt to take a picture of this pantry. But you know what? A big pantry is a huge selling factor, just a pantry in general. That was like the one thing that I was most excited about with the house that we have now, is we have a big walk-in pantry, and it makes so much of a difference. So if I did not see the photo of that pantry and I didn't read all the details, and that was something that was important to me, I would have totally missed that. So having those photos of the pantry and that small, uncomfortable, awkward space that you do not want to take pictures of is really important, as difficult as they can be. So some tips I have for you when it comes to taking small spaces, pictures of small spaces, is a wide angle. And we'll go into those a little deeper, what that means, what you would purchase, but you want to make sure you have a wide angle lens. And the new iPhone, the Pro mode, the Pro Max, actually has a wide angle lens. So they have 3, as you can see, I don't know if it's in focus or not. There's 3 little cameras, and what that does is it actually adds that 3rd wall that you're missing in the standard lenses, or even worse, the lenses that used to be on the smartphones where it was very narrow. You could not get nearly as much information as you needed to. So they upped their game and they added that wide angle capability. This is our classroom, which we haven't seen that in a while. But this, it's a decent size classroom, but it's definitely not a really big room or anything. So with that, it's nice that you can take pictures of small spaces, but they also capture a big living room, a open floor plan, and you can really see the whole space. Basements, long basements, and you can get all 3 walls or 3 walls in the photos. So this is our classroom. This was taken with the iPhone wide angle capability. So you can see that I have this wall, most of this wall. With the standard, I would have probably got some of the TV and over here, and all of this extra information down here would have been cut out. So this is the same classroom, obviously, same exact time, taken with the DSLR. So you can see with the DSLR wide angle and the wide angle feature in the phone, how wide it actually gets. And it shows those spaces really nicely. So I cannot stress that more when it comes to real estate photography, is having wide angle lenses. All of my photos that I take, except for maybe some close-up shots that I do, are all done wide angle.
Hey, Taylor.
Yeah.
So I did get a question in here that I was not able to answer myself, because this is definitely your realm. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to paraphrase by, can a DSLR camera actually get worn out? As in not taking the best quality of photos that it used to be able to.
Okay. So with technology in general, of course, like the mechanisms in the camera, lenses, all that kind of stuff is going to get worn out over time, depending on, if it's sat and for too long, or if you just use the heck out of it. That goes with anything, of course, right? In terms of if she means worn out in like quality.
Yeah, he says that seems to be that the photos aren't as clear as they used to be, and sometimes he sees some water spots.
Okay, so just to give you some perspective, this is with was with at the time my brand new Pro Max. This is with my 8-year-old DSLR camera with a wide angle. So in terms of quality of the photo, I personally think it's better still. I don't see them being outdated in a short period of time, because I'm still happy with my DSLR in terms of certain lighting situations. Now, I would say there's like probably if I was doing business every weekend, tons of jobs every, all that, I would be getting a new camera as a professional photographer, every maybe 3 to 5 years. However, as a real estate agent, where you're taking pictures of, big spaces, you have tripods, you have that flexibility. You're not a photojournalist. You're not a wedding photographer that's trying to take pictures of, you know, a dark wedding hall. I would say you have, you know, 6 to 8 years with a decent DSLR. So in terms of worn out, yeah, just like anything, it's going to be worn out based on how long it's used and how long it sits and stuff like that. But if you really look at cameras, I have an old Polaroid that's super, super old from, I think, from maybe the 20s. And it still works. So it still turns on, it still works. It's all how you take care of something, right? So in terms of that, like, no, like your camera's not gonna just randomly, after 5 years, not work anymore. Your phone, on the other hand, they're really great at doing that. You do enough updates and your phone doesn't end up working anymore because they want you to buy the newest and best. So I would not agree with that. And in terms of quality, this is what I can show you firsthand. Brand new smartphone, 8-year-old DSLR. Hopefully that answers your question. Let me know if it doesn't, or if you have anything to piggyback off of that. Another thing is small spaces, like we talked about. So this is a big space. Wide angle lenses are great for those small spaces. So some tips I have for a small space, like a half bath, a pantry, a small laundry room, small bedrooms even. The biggest thing that I see people do is they go in the room. You think you have to be in the room to take the picture. That's not the case. So you want to stand outside the room, right in the door frame, but you do not want to get the door frame in your shot. So it's all about maneuvering your body and your camera and doing all that to make sure that you don't get the door frame. Also, either getting higher or lower helps. So if you are average height like me, I'm 5'5", eye level, basically, you know, we're looking right here. If I were to stand on a chair or a decent sized step stool, I'm going to get so much more information with that perspective, kind of shooting down outside the room and shooting vertically. Another thing that I'll do, I was higher up in this picture, but another thing I've done is just get down lower, crouch down, vertical, right in that door frame. Wide angle lenses, even shooting vertically, this is what's going on. You have all this information right here that if I shot horizontally, you wouldn't, you'd be missing all this. You'd miss how tall the ceilings are. You'd miss the floor, and it would feel like it's just a toilet shot. So that's one of the things that I recommend. Here's another bigger bathroom, but still a small space. Okay, so make sure that my lines are lined up right here. Shooting wide angle, but I am shooting horizontal because I have more space to work with here. And I wanted to be able to show the full double vanities. So I shot one vertical, one horizontal. I liked the horizontal one better. Wide angle lens. So with that wide angle lens, I'm able to get the full vanity. I'm able to get some of this wall here, where the standard lens, it probably would have been, even standing outside the room, would have been cut out and cut out right here. Now, let me pull up, just to recap, the time of day when you take your primary photos, something to consider before you go do that and get that new listing on the market here. Don't let the month of March discourage you. Now, we also want to be able to show small spaces. Now, let's say you don't have the new Pro, you don't have a wide angle lens. What do you need to do? So the best thing that you can do is obviously incorporate it into what I talked about. We're standing outside the room, getting higher, getting lower, and just getting creative with your perspective. Every room's a little different, but shooting towards a corner is going to be the best. When I look in the MLS and I see pictures where they're just like right there in the room, they're shooting right at the tub and the toilet. You can't see barely see any of the wall. You can't see the floor. It's just a toilet tub shot. That definitely, people I think they're limited to what they can do, but you'll be surprised how much better your photos will be when you actually step outside the room and crouch down or stand up on a chair and shoot down, unless you're like 6'4" or something. Somebody who's average height, I kind of say like anything between like 5'3" and 5'11", 6 foot, you're going to you know, it does help to get higher and lower. Now, one thing too that I would recommend is, how do you get rid of those dull, flat photos? Now, there's retouching, there's also third parties that you can use, but your time of day and your lighting is everything with a photo. So knowing all the controls in your camera, from something called an aperture to a shutter speed to ISO, to the type of file format that you're using, can all make a huge difference in that dullness, as well as obviously outdated equipment that's super low resolution. It's not capturing all the color that it could. But equipment, I don't consider equipment, to answer the one question, outdated after 2-3 years. Now, hitting the market. What's nice about Paragon that I want to show real quick is we have a feature that allows you as the agent, whether you're working with a admin for the office, you have an assistant, or you are part of a team, you can go in and you can actually have full control over photos, for one, which we would talk about, but also when that listing goes live and you're not rushed trying to get it all in and get it live at some preferred time. So what you can actually do is, when you go into your listing, take your time. Or if the admin is doing it, let them do it, but don't let them push it live at, you know, 4 o'clock if you're not ready for it to go live at 4 o'clock. Let's say you want it to go live at 9 a.m. the next day. So that person that's looking for a home, they get up, they get their breakfast, their coffee, they're playing on their phone, and they see the new listing alert from Collaboration Center sent to their phone. You can actually save the listing as a partial. The admin can, or you can go in, make sure it's perfect, no rush, add your photos, add your captions, add your descriptions, and then, you know, that's 11 o'clock at night. I want to push it at 8 a.m. You can do that. Save as a partial, and then simply go into my partials up here. So you go to listings, partials, and you'll have a spreadsheet view of all your partials or your listings, and you can open that up. And then when you open that listing up, sorry, my ring light's in the way here, I'm trying to see. When you pull that up, it's important to know that save listing is going to push that live. And when that's live in the MLS right away. That's live in the Collaboration Center. Auto emails, if they still have those set up versus Collaboration Center. Home Snap, all of that. It'll be on with our data sharing partners within usually about an hour, sometimes quicker. Syndication sites, all that day. So when you hit save listing, it's there. And if you hit save listing as a partial, it's just there as a draft till you're ready. So when you hit save listing, you want to know that time that you want to put it out for the most eyeballs to hit that coming through. So maybe you're not getting stuff coming through at 2 in the morning. If you want something to come through at 11 a.m. and you're ready to, especially with low inventory right now, and you're ready to rock that out, you can do that based on the timing and control that you have here. There was one other thing I wanted to say about that. Oh, so A big thing here with the partial feature is sometimes people make the mistake of just saving the listing, pushing it live, and then a few hours later, they're going to go in and they'll retouch it, right? They'll edit it, they'll make some changes, not just general changes like a status change or price change or anything like that. I'm talking information about the listing, photos, captions, descriptions, all that kind of stuff, video links. All of that is considered a media file update. And the problem with doing that later is you are not even getting things instantaneously. You are getting it within like anywhere from 24 hours to 48 hours, depending on the sites, the IDX sites, the syndication sites. So you want to make sure that all that information is in the listing before you hit save. Another tip I recommend.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those things we stress in the new agent welcome class.
Yeah.
Making sure that and especially when your admins are doing it, you can look at the listing and see what's going on. You can approve it before your admin hits the save listing button.
Yeah, absolutely. This for me reminds me, I'm not an agent, but this reminds me of a lot of the stuff that I do for communication standpoint is I save all of our stuff as a draft that goes out, and then take a minute or get it prepared and then come back when I'm ready to push it live or schedule it out. And allows me to do that and not rush and send something out. And then it's like, oh, I wish I would have added this. Or, oh, there was a typo here that I didn't see because my eyes were tired after staring at the screen for hours. This is just something in general to practice with everything, is always save stuff as a draft and come back. And a lot of people don't know that the listing has that, or they don't realize that they can have that communication between an admin or another agent, assistant, team member, that they can actually do this if you give them the authority to do that and save it as a partial.
And Linda has a question. So about when you change your photos, does the photo get changed instantly? How about Zillow? And is there a time delay?
Yes, yes. So that was where I was talking about everything as a new listing is seen immediately. The way the data feed works and the way that they receive data, all these third parties, is as instant as it can be, right? Collaboration Center, the MLS, of course, but Zillow's, IDX sites, those kinds of things. So when you go in later and add different photos or add different links, there is a time delay, because the way the feed works is it sees it as a media file update, not a new listing or not a status change, things like that. So just the way that it's set up, the way these third parties pull feeds, that is why having that listing alert that a potential buyer sees, they also get that notification, which I forgot to talk about this. So like I mentioned, that you push that listing at 9 a.m. because you want them to, once they're up and ready and they're just kind of checking their phone, drinking their coffee, 7 a.m., it's your choice. They're going to see that new listing alert. You only have 5 photos, but you're waiting on the remaining photos, or you have a whole marketing link of promo video or drone video, and it's not in there as that new listing alert, you missed that window there, because going in and adding that link 2 days later or photos later, there's a delay with all the third parties. But also the way stuff works with like Collaboration Center, the auto emails, matches, and like Home Snap and stuff like that, it is a new listing alert. They don't get that for a media file update. They have to be like, oh, let me go back to that listing again and see if they added more photos, which very few people are going to do. So you have that first impression. right off the bat. So partial function is very, very important there. So partial function, time of day, taking these difficult situations and making the most of them, and tips and techniques. So the biggest thing that I can say moving forward, getting ready for the busy spring market, and is we want to get that first photo program rolled out so that you get the criticism and feedback under your belt, so that when you go to a listing appointment, you have all of that, all those critiques from me, you have those questions asked, you have things that you can learn strategically about how to take pictures of this room, that room, different lighting scenarios. Order of photos is really important as well. Something that I will have a whole example of that storytelling experience. But you know, we only have an hour here today, and this isn't necessarily the photography class. So the order of photos and using your captions and marketing features in Paragon, as well as third parties and stuff that you can do to really, really just kind of hit a home run with your new listing, because we can't fully control, obviously, how many listings are on the market, but we can control how they're presented and getting the most bang for your buck, and having that first impression, especially right now where people are going to be a little bit more reserved in doing these showings and you know, walkthroughs and everything like that, open houses. So your marketing game definitely needs to be top notch, and photos, of course, as well as strategically putting your listing out there, using descriptions to describe features of the home that maybe they overlook in the actual data sheet. And yeah, so.
Also on listing entry, we have a new class coming up it's on the transaction desk, and the class is called The Listing Package from Creation to Signing. And that's coming up on the 18th at 10 a.m. via live webinar as usual. So that will help you create that list. Oh, yum, 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 yum.
Yeah.
That'll derail me. So that's coming up, so you guys can register for that. She knows my weakness. Oh, what? So remember, you can always register off the front page of Paragon, and that calendar view is right there. And we do have Taylor's 2 photo classes. The registrations are open at the minute, but we believe we're going to do a different style. So the registration is open for a GoToWebinar like this, but Taylor is looking at doing something a little different, like wants to do it via Zoom webinar. So we're working on that, and hopefully, even if you do register in the class the way it is, don't worry, we'll get you switched over, kind of like this morning. We'll get you switched over to the new one.
Yeah, we're testing it out. So we do Zoom meetings, and they're so user friendly, and I like that you can see the whole group. So let's say we have 10 people in the class, I can actually, you know, see everybody. If they want to turn on their webcam, they're welcome to. If you don't want to, that's fine. But it's just a more conversational style class versus so lecture based, which I really miss about teaching in a classroom. And I can, you know, recognize people's faces. I see their names, but I'm a face person. I don't always remember names, but I never forget a face. So I'd like to incorporate that, as well as allow you guys to share your photos that you take. There's homework, there's certain things that, you know, I would like for you guys to achieve before really going into the busy market that's coming our way here soon. So with that, I want to do our last giveaway, which looks delicious. So these special chocolate covered cookies, gourmet cookies. And this is going to be prize number 2. And the question is the question section in GoToWebinar is where you're going to write your response. The first person to get the answer right wins this, and then I'll write the name down and I'll reach out to you to get your preferred mailing address, whether that's your office or your home address. So same for you, Ed. You are the winner of our prize number 1. So we'll be reaching out to you to get that set up. So question number 2 for this prize is, we talked about how we brought on Claire Gladwin today as an exclusive data share. Can you name one other exclusive data share that was on the map today, or that you've seen in recent communications or have used in Paragon? So the first person to name any other exclusive data share that we have will win this chocolate covered cookie gourmet food gift. Looks delicious. Are you a white chocolate person, Debbie?
I'm an everything chocolate kind of person. My favorite is the dark chocolate, though.
Yeah, I'm dark chocolate too, and milk chocolate. I cannot do the white chocolate.
Okay, so we have 2 different answers. So wait, repeat the question again, because I want to make sure that I've got the correct person.
It would be the first person to respond for one, but the first, obviously, one of the first correct one too.
When it was exclusive data share?
Name one other exclusive data share that we've recently added to Paragon.
All righty. Well, the first one was Ed again. So he named the exclusive data share, which is Bay County, and Linda also put in the up north area, very close. So the Upper Peninsula will be coming on later in the year. If you're thinking, Linda, if you were just thinking about the up north area of the Lower Peninsula, the Northern Great Lakes, yep, Realtors MLS, which encompasses, don't forget, there are 3 different realtor associations in that grouping. So good job, Linda and Ed. Ed, yep. you have been listening. He's been attending classes.
And he's did you say he was a new agent or new member?
Yeah, he's a newer member.
Okay. Wow.
And he's a chocoholic.
Okay, good. Well, that works out well. So, all right. Well, now for the exclusive data shares, like what Debbie was explaining, let me just pull it up one more time before we end for the day, which she might have seen that's coming with the Upper Peninsula. But Debbie mentioned, and what I think, did you say Linda?
Yep, Linda Fennell.
Northern Great Lakes, so all up here as well that we have. So that's another exclusive data share. That's that bright green up here. Another one is Claire Gladwin, of course, Mishrick, Greater Lansing, Bay. So we have a bunch of them. So great job, Ed and Linda, and we will see you guys next month for the Mixing It Up, where we're going to talk more about data sharing, how we've gone about this, what this means for you, all the different forms of data sharing, some things to come in the future, and then Colleen will be my co-host with that. So we missed her today, but it was nice having you on, Debbie, for a change.
Thank you. And don't forget, we'll also see you at the birthday bash on the 16th.
Yep, so be sure to register for the birthday bash, and I look forward to hopefully seeing some familiar names from today's Mixing It Up in my photo program. Any questions that you guys have after this, feel free to reach out to me. You can reach out directly to me, or you can just reach out to the email. My email is right there, tfeedawa@myrealsource.net, or reach out to the webinar email and ask any follow-up questions that you may have. And this will be on our YouTube channel under the Mixing It Up playlist. So go ahead, subscribe. We'll be writing your names down for the giveaways every month, and look forward to seeing you guys in future things, and see you next month.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody.
Bye. Thank you so much.